Have you ever heard someone whisper your name in the middle of the night, even though you are completely alone? If that ever happens, don't answer, because sometimes the voice isn't coming from outside your room. It's coming from under your bed. My name is Ethan, and this happened when I was 12 years old. My parents had just moved into an old house at the edge of a quiet town. The house was cheap, but it always felt strange, like someone was watching us from the dark corners. My room was on the second floor, and every night I felt uncomfortable for no reason. The first few nights were normal, but then I started hearing a soft sound under my bed. At first, it was just a gentle scratch. 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 I thought it was a mouse, so I ignored it. But every night the scratching became louder. Then one night, I heard something that froze my blood. A quiet voice whispered, "Ethan?" I jumped out of bed and turned on the light. The room was empty. I looked under the bed, expecting to see a cat or maybe a broken box moving around. There was nothing, just darkness. I told my parents the next morning, but they laughed and said I was having nightmares. I wanted to believe them, but deep inside, I knew I had heard someone calling my name. The next night, I stayed awake with a flashlight. Around 2 in the morning, the scratching started again. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Then the whisper came back, louder this time. "Ethan, come closer." My heart was beating so hard I thought it would explode. I slowly leaned over the side of my bed and pointed the flashlight underneath. Nothing. The light showed only the wooden floor and a few dusty boxes. Then suddenly, the flashlight turned off by itself. The room became completely dark. I heard slow breathing under the bed. It wasn't my breathing. It was something else, something waiting. I ran out of my room and slept on the couch downstairs. The next morning, my father checked my room again. He looked under the bed and even removed everything from beneath it. There was nothing there. He smiled and said everything was fine. But that night, he looked different. He seemed tired, and he kept staring at my bedroom door. Around midnight, I heard him scream. My mother and I rushed upstairs. My father was standing in my room, shaking. He kept repeating the same words over and over. It spoke to me. It knows my name. After that night, he refused to enter my room again. My parents finally agreed to let me sleep in the guest room. I thought the nightmare was over, but I was wrong. The very first night in the new room, I heard the same scratching. This time, it came from under the guest bed. Then the whisper returned. "You can't hide from me." I covered my ears, but the voice only became louder. It sounded closer, almost like someone was lying beneath me, smiling. I couldn't sleep. Every night the voice learned something new about me. It knew my birthday. It knew the name of my best friend. It even repeated conversations I had at school that nobody else could have heard. It was always calm, always whispering, always waiting. One evening, I came home early and found my little sister sitting on the floor outside my room. She looked scared. I asked what happened. She quietly said, "Someone under your bed asked me where you were." My heart almost stopped. I grabbed her hand and took her downstairs. That night, we all slept in the living room together. Around 3 in the morning, we heard footsteps upstairs. Slow, heavy, careful footsteps. Nobody was upstairs. My father slowly walked toward the stairs with a baseball bat. We watched him disappear into the darkness. A few seconds later, everything became silent. Then we heard him shout, "Run!" He came rushing down the stairs with fear in his eyes. Behind him, we heard another voice. It sounded exactly like my father's voice, but he was already standing in front of us. The second voice laughed from upstairs and whispered, "Too late." We left the house before sunrise and never went back. The house stayed empty for years. People said no family ever lived there for long. Some claimed they heard voices through the windows at night. Others said they saw a shadow crawling across the second-floor bedroom. Years passed, and I tried to forget everything. I grew up, moved to another city, and started a new life. One rainy evening, while cleaning my apartment, I dropped my phone. It slid under my bed. I knelt down to grab it. Before my hand reached underneath, I heard a familiar whisper from the darkness. "Ethan, I knew you would come back." I froze. The voice hadn't changed. It was the same cold whisper from my childhood. Slowly, very slowly, something reached toward my hand from the darkness under the bed. I never looked to see what it was. I grabbed my phone and ran out of the apartment, leaving everything behind. Even today, I never sleep on a bed with space underneath. I always check every room before turning off the lights. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, I still wake up because I hear scratching beneath the floor and a soft voice whispering my name. If you ever hear someone calling you from under your bed, no matter how familiar the voice sounds, don't answer, and whatever you do, never look underneath. If you enjoyed this horror story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more scary stories. Sleep carefully, because tonight, the voice might be calling your name.